Hi, favored ones. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Soul Reflections. In today's segment, I'd like to share a breakthrough that I had. Alam niyo naman na I'm very I'm very honest and candid about my issues. And one of my issues is procrastination. And I've tried a lot of healing modalities, and every time I heal this issue, ang nangyayari is that layer by layer, nawawala yung issue. So, this week, there was another layer that was lifted off. And what I did was to post the question before I sleep and before I pray. I just posted the question, what makes me procrastinate in life? What makes me, you know, be so anxious when it comes to doing the work that I need to do? And somehow the guides answered and God answered that question, and while I was doing the dishes. So yung pumasok na sagot was, it's because when I was young, after school, pag uwi sa bahay around mga 6 p.m., 7 p.m., I start to study. And my mom or my dad would help me in my studies. Kaya lang, parang nagkaroon ng trauma doon because I felt that I wasn't good enough. Parang tanga yung labas. I'm not sure if it's because of communication style or the parenting style, but then, as a young kid, yun yung impression na nakuha ko, that I wasn't good enough, and lagi ako napapagalitan or napagsasabihan pag tinuturuan na ako ng mommy ko or chinututor ako ng mom ko. And of course, that kind of trauma happened since preparatory until grade school. So that's almost 9 years, di ba? So, ang nangyari is that my body, my nervous system, apparently, because I'm also listening to Mel Robbins, and siya yung nagbigay ng idea na yon. Apparently, my body, my nervous system, got so anxious every time mag-aaral na ako. Every time magtatrabaho na ako. Kasi I was a student before. So, it was so ingrained that it became unconscious. It was my pattern, and it was somehow a trauma. So, in some ways, it also affected my behavior in such a way that I'd like to procrastinate. Kung kailangan ko umupo at kailangan ko mag-concentrate at kailangan ko talaga do some write-ups or work on certain projects, if it involves thinking and writing or using my mind to write it all down, I tend to procrastinate. Lagi ko siyang hinuhuli. And it's because it was connected to that trauma when I was younger. And despite all the talk therapies, despite all the healing, of course, it's still deep. It's still a deep kind of trauma. So, alam ko rin na hindi siya agad-agad mawawala. But then, because we have the choice, we have the power to heal ourselves, we can break that pattern consciously. And the way to do it is when you're starting to feel anxious or when you're starting to feel that icky feeling, yung parang ayaw mo na gawin. Kasi, yun nga yung katawan mo na parang nasa memory na ng body na hindi mo gusto talaga. So, you'd want to avoid as much as possible. Take deep breaths. Then, always connect to yourself once again. Take deep breaths and tell yourself that you are safe. That no one is going to harm you this time. And it actually worked. So, at least in my case. And I'm sharing it to you because all of us have patterns in our lives. All of us have gone through trauma when we were younger. And a lot of times, we carry it until adulthood. And right now, I'm in my, late 30s. Okay, so I'm in my late 30s. And imagine, I've been carrying it since grade school, since preparatory days. So I'm just so happy that I had this breakthrough. And I know that it's the beginning of another healing in my life. Now, the next step is, now that I know my issue, now that I know that it came from this particular root cause, what should I do to further transform my life, to further thrive in this life? Because procrastination is, some of you may think that parang, ay, maliit na issue lang yan. Pero hindi eh. Kasi when you procrastinate, you really make delays in your life. Yung achievements, yung success na kailangan mong makuha, dinedelay mo ng dinedelay because you're procrastinating. And in my case, I procrastinate because I'm avoiding, that anxiety, that anxiousness na baka may magsabi na naman na hindi okay yung mga ginagawa ko, or I'm not good enough, or mapagalitan ako, or alam mo yun, yung mga things na naranasan ko when I was younger, when I had to do the work, it might surface again, although I know that it's not. Just because it was so ingrained in my body, it was so ingrained in the nervous system, it was so ingrained in the mind. So these are patterns that you can actually break. And when you break those patterns, it's now time to make the choice to transform and thrive. And in my case, what I did is I look back at my goals, and I look back at the systems that I created for myself, the structure that I created for myself, so that so that I could avoid the delays na, so that I could avoid procrastinating, because right now there is a certain level of certainty that yes, I can manage this issue now, because I already know where it came from, and I know that this is no longer the case. It's no longer relevant in this stage of my life. So I don't need to carry the childhood trauma into my adulthood, and I have the choice to break those patterns. And in terms of success, in terms of achievements, we also have to make the choice to initiate the actions needed. So that's why I return to my goals, I return to the system that I created, and made some tweaks and reinforce that I cannot make those delays anymore. I cannot create the delays. I cannot procrastinate anymore. These are the results that I want. And if I fail to reach the objectives that I've set, it's not just me who's affected. There would be so many people affected, because in my kind of work, marami akong natutulungan. And if I'm not able to complete the task that I've set for myself, it would affect the other people that I'm supposed to help. So that's the actually that's the sharing that I have right now. Medyo napahaba, no? Hi Tita Jane, hi Rog. Thank you for listening. So anyway, because of this breakthrough, because right now I rolled out an online healing workshop. So six na workshops, and it's a healing workshop. So now, because of my realization, I thought that okay, after the healing, after they've come to understand what their issue is, where it came from, so the next step is, how will I guide them to further transform and to further, have that prosperous life? Ano ba yung mga gusto nila sa buhay? Paano ko sila matutulungan or magagabayan papunta doon? So, it made the wheels in my mind turn again. So, sabi ko, sige, I'll create a pilot program that will guide people to set goals, to create action plans, to have a support group wherein everyone is helping each other, motivating each other to implement the action plan that they've actually set. So, actually sakto nga kasi the online healing workshops, it would end by 3rd week of December. So I'm going to offer this pilot program to those who would join the healing workshop. Bale by January, start na ng program na yon. And I'm going to charge just minimal para lang may konting energy exchange. But I'm really excited because, sometimes, even with my past counselees, minsan when you've already helped them, when they are already healed, they go back to their old patterns. Sometimes the patterns are still working. Pwede pa yon. But then, there are also moments when the old patterns are no longer working. So, parang ang mangyayari is, kailangan na ng bagong sistema. Bagong goals, bagong way of seeing life. So, this is where that program will be coming from. But anyways, so sobra na yung sharing ko. But thank you so much for listening. I wish you all a happy Sunday and have a blessed, wonderful day. God bless everyone.